All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 4 of the Skookum Session Bigfoot Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremiah Fountain, joined by an excellent panel this evening. Not that, not always excellent, but, we got a especially excellent panel tonight. Shawn is back. Shawn, how's it going, my friend?
Oh, boy. Man, just glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you back, buddy.
It's been a long time.
Miss you, man. Glad to have you back. What's that?
I said it's about time Shawn got his camera going. It took him forever. He's making me jealous with his beard longer than mine.
Oh, yeah, right. Unfortunately, JR couldn't join us, unfortunately. But we, once again, were able to grab Mr. Patrick Vaugn. Patrick, how's it going, my friend?
It's going well. Goodwill here.
Good to have you back. Good to have you back. It's always an honor, man. So we've got Patrick and Shawn, and we have Gary Spikes Jr. Gary, my friend, what's going on?
Tired.
Are you tired? I'm sorry.
Ready to get our power back on.
I can imagine. I'm just glad you guys are all right, man. And we have the two new hot commodities, I guess, is how you want to put it. Little inside joke between the group. We've got Mr. Israel Barreto. Israel, how is it going, sir?
Good. Thank you for having me on again, man. Sorry for last week, but we're ready to rock and roll.
Come on,
we're ready to rock.
No apology needed. You know that. Just we're honored to have you, man.
Thank
you.
you.
Got everything's good. And like I was saying, the second hot commodity, Mr. Travis Bowen. Travis, what's up, buddy?
Oh, not much. Just living a dream.
I hear that. That's all we can do, right, man?
That's right.
Last, certainly not least, is Mr. John D. Switzer. John, how is it going, man?
Man, if I was any better, I'd be running for president.
You know what? I think you'd be a hell of a president, man.
Oh my God! Yeah, free bagels for everybody. Yeah. No, everything's good. A lot of wind out of the north today. 48 degrees.
Shit, we missed you, man. Missed you last week, man.
Oh, I had to do that stupid stuff. Work, you know.
Boy, we rocked it.
Trouble on your own. Yeah, you probably got enough trouble on your own. Yeah.
Well, you probably would have gotten yourself in trouble. You know, I'm sure you could have gotten nice and riled up, but we made it work.
Well, considering the combined intelligence of everyone that was on there last week, I probably should have been around just to keep you in line.
This is true. True.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good, John. I'm glad you're doing
good. All good.
Glad you're back, buddy. Glad you're back, man. And we do also have Mr. Dan Benoit joining us tonight. He will be on a little bit late. Did I miss anybody? I don't think so. Gary?
Yeah.
I didn't miss anyone, right?
No.
Okay. Well,
except for the star of the show, Mr. Sasquatch, Mr. Bigfoot.
Well, this is true. So with all that being said, I'm going to let Israel kind of kick us off a little bit this evening. We're going to start out with as for those of you with your first time tuning in, Israel, would you mind real quick just kind of giving a quick rundown of what you do, of your background?
Yes, sir. So I work as a criminal investigator, but more recently I'm doing criminal intelligence, where we gather the data and we compile it. So instead of going out to the crime scene, we're compiling all that evidence, all that data, to send it out as a product to whoever needs it, be it commanders and stuff like this. So in this instance, it would be pertinent to show the listeners, hey, documentation is key, like we said it before. So, and I should have put a caveat last time, but just to anybody who's actually listening and stuff like that, the stuff that we talk about is just, one of the ways you can do it. It's not a one all be all type of deal. There's 100 ways you can collect stuff. There's 100 ways that you can document. This is just giving you an example, like we talked about, being whatever level you're at. Because something came up a little while ago that Jeremiah asked me, hey, is there a difference between a beginner collecting some photographs or evidence versus an advanced? The beginner, obviously, is going to take a little bit longer. It might be confused as to what they're doing, but it's the same collecting methods. I would say the differences would be in photography. You do get a lot better once you start practicing more.
Okay.
And you learn how to play with the tools in the camera and get faster at taking the pictures.
Okay.
So, like I was talking about yesterday with you, I think it's good to go into how we document all this, the actual documentation. And this is an open round. I'd like for anybody to tell me how you document what you guys do, either by photographs, if you keep a folder in your file, and what's the folder have. For example, we have separate folders for photography, for maps, we even have Excel spreadsheets that you can go back and query. So I would just be interested in knowing what you guys individually have as a database for future use.
Okay.
Whoever wants to open it up to tell me.
Not a problem. And anyone want to volunteer to open?
Yeah.
John, perfect. John,
I've got about the best I can do is take measurements. If I can take casts, I'll take casts. If I can photograph it, I'll photograph it at several angles. If I can find a track, say a set of tracks, I'll take a handkerchief, I'll stick it on a pole or a stick at the first track I find and start trying to find like a Mandela going out, a spiral going out like a dog does.
Right.
Then I will record it in a journal that's out of my reach. It's over here. And like I say, as many photographs as I can. The big thing is you won't see me put something on Facebook because what I have is my reference for what, documentation that only works for me for putting more things down in a journal.
Got you.
And between the first time I ever heard a wood knock to the time I picked up my first track was close to 40 years. All right. So these people that go out and go, hey, we saw Bigfoot this weekend and last weekend and the weekend
before.
And they were having a party with a kegger at a Bigfoot band. I mean, really? I mean, we're expected to believe that, right? So documentation.
I love
and
it.
if you're gonna document something, that means measurements to me. It means photographs to me. That means casts to me. That also means witnesses. 3, not 2. 2 people will conspire. The third party probably won't go along with the 2 people that want to conspire, and it's going to come out at some point.
At some point, yeah.
Now, there you go. That's the way I see it.
Good stuff, John.
Now, blow it out of the water, please.
Good stuff. Just before we move on, Dan Benoit just joined us. Dan, can you hear us okay, buddy?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, just give you a quick rundown, man. We're doing kind of a forensics talk tonight. Israel, this is Dan Benoit.
How you doing?
Nice to meet you, sir.
Israel is our forensics guy. That's what he does for a living. He knows stuff. He knows this stuff, so he's kind of taking us through some evidence processing work tonight, and we'll take it from there. So just wanted to keep
good. Nice to meet you, John.
And that was John Switzer. We got Travis. You know Travis. We got Gary, Shawn Wilson, and Patrick again. So pretty much everyone that was on with you when you were on the other night, except for Israel, and Shawn is back.
Oh, okay. I had to swipe over to see everybody else on my because I'm on my phone right now, so now I see everybody.
Got it. Okay, so yeah, John, that was good stuff. So why don't we'll move on? So, well, I guess with that being said, well, Israel asked a question, Dan. As far as documentation goes, we're just going through the lineup here, and like Israel was saying, as an investigator, in his line of work, it's key. Documentation is key.
Oh yeah.
You personally, not to pick on you, but I figured since I was just talking to you, I'd move on to you next. What do you, as far as your documentation techniques, what do you prefer? Like, what's your system? If you don't mind answering.
Oh no, absolutely. From what I heard John mention, I definitely agree with what I caught from John's end. Of course, it all depends on what you have available. Of course, anytime you go in the field, you want to be prepared at all costs. If it depends if you're out there in the field, exploring, you come across stuff. Yeah, you want. If you got a camera, not everybody's able to afford camcorders, but everybody has access to a phone. Most phones take pictures, so yeah, you definitely want to document photos, even audio. Some people like to carry a notebook and document stuff down by make field notes.
Yeah.
But audio, there's a number of things, but like a lot of times I know when we have encounters and everything, I know not every encounter is going to be able to be documented only by verbal accounts.
Right.
So, and a lot of people deny stories as evidence, but it's more of a, what's the proper word to use? Anecdotal evidence. It's more of a verbal. Yeah, it's a verbal account of evidence, but it may not be concrete, but it's your word against mine pretty much on that case. But yeah, but I definitely agree with photos, videos, even audio if all possible, So yeah, and again, it just depends on what you have available at your what resources you have. So
right.
And
Cool.
we shouldn't dismiss verbal accounts because we just chalk them up as to raw data. You can go back to it. Like John said, go back. You can always go back to it, and it might be pieces that this person didn't have the full story, but he might have half the story. I mean, you get that third person. And then going back to John, I like that three rule that you have, and it's about consistency. If you do something, I know that it's going to be different each time, but if you do your techniques the same each time, you're going to get a hell of a lot better. And again, like what he said, whenever he sees the tracks, you step back or you start looking around. If you do that each time, just stay consistent or whatever method you use.
Cool. Thank you, Israel. Thank you.
Sir.
I can actually add the encounter that me and my mama and my oldest daughter had a little over 4 years ago now. And we were not Bigfoot researching at all, but my daughter, She was 14 at the time, and she was running a camcorder. And she didn't catch it on film, but it picked up all of the audio. And that really helped me as far as remembering, because it was a quick, up-close experience.
Yeah.
And I had a whole lot of things on my mind all at once. And just watching that video back actually helped detail the whole encounter.
Oh, without a doubt.
What we were talking about, saying. So the audio alone really made a big difference in that moment.
Yeah, it does help you recall little details you might not otherwise recall. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I know with me personally, with my head injury, sometimes I will have problems remembering tiny details. But like that's, like you said, with the, you get that, if you get a recording of something, that can something to jog your memory at least, if not anything else,
And I mean, it even helped with the timeline because remembering it seemed like it was a longer experience than it was, and it all actually played in a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
From beginning to end, it was really actually very quick.
Sure. Yep.
Isn't it interesting how when you have a sighting, a Class A sighting like that, how things seem to slow down?
Oh yeah. Sure do, man.
I believe that's the adrenaline kicking in.
I do too.
a car wreck or
Mm-hmm.
you know, falling off a mountain or anything like that. You know, that adrenaline kicks in.
Yep. It's all different chemicals kicking in, and I agree. Okay, cool. Thanks, Travis. Gary, documentation.
Yes, sir. Well, just like we was talking about earlier, when I took pictures of that track, I didn't go by my own preaching, you know. But the main thing that, as I said in the last show, a notebook and just take accurate notes and step back and I do it a little different. I document once I locate an initial target area, say a track or a blood spot or whatever. Then I locate that area, I mark it, then I step back, reevaluate the surrounding area, and start documenting distances, times, descriptions, full descriptions, take my pictures, and then I work my way back in and then start doing my circular pattern. But to me, honestly, the most important thing to me would be just flat out descriptive notes. You know, whether it be using audio or writing on a piece of paper. You know, everybody's done said that, but to me, that is one of the most important things, because as time goes, stories have a tendency, we forget things and we allude to things. But if you have those notes and have that descriptive, how would we say, report, that as time goes, you can refer back to that. And as we can take it a step further, I know Israel had mentioned something about some kind of a database. I think that would be another thing that we as a community need to strive for, or as a team, is have a database that we can enter this information in a standardized pattern. You know, that way one report is not off in left field. You know, we're all using the same formulas, which is what Israel's trying to teach us.
Right.
But we're not using all separate different formulas and stuff. Everything is kind of set into where you can, oh, well, mine was the same way, this was the same way, this was the differences, because we're getting to where we have so many reports and so many sightings. And me and Daniel had talked about this, you know, a long time ago, and me and you and Jeremiah have, we're seeing a lot of similarities throughout different topographical areas, you know, in behavior, in evidence taking. So I think if we could put together a database like Israel was saying, with a standardized procedure of taking the evidential evidence or the documentable evidence, it would be a good addition to the community overall.
I think I think it's a hell of an idea, especially with like you were just saying, this for this group we have right here, a team, you know, our little team right here put our own little database together. I'm sure, Israel, you wouldn't mind giving us a jog with that, would you?
Oh yeah, I can make something up.
Excellent, awesome.
That would be cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Definitely something we can discuss. Yeah, for sure.
That's something that any group should do.
I agree.
You know, and have that database within that group only.
I agree.
You know.
Hey guys, when you start talking about a database, you got to start talking about the parameters of recorded information, and the classification system. I didn't know what it was till about 6 months ago. I read through the classification system. I think BFRO set it up, and it lacks so much.
Yeah.
It really needs to be, you know, upgraded and done with a better system. So you need to look at, you know, somehow we need to look at all the reports and figure out the entire spectrum of capabilities, you know, physical attributes, and make the report full, you know, with all the spaces for each one of them, and not just say, okay, a class A is broad daylight, you're looking at it and it's looking at you, and then a class B is everything else, you know.
I agree 100%. Yeah, and I think Patrick, what you're saying, I think that's definitely something with Israel's background, he could definitely help put us something, you know, help us put something together like that, you know, something
close encounters of the third kind.
That
kind of classification.
There you go.
Well, I would that just for my job. I mean, I work in the chemical industry and safety. is top notch.
Yeah.
And as far as our reporting goes for safety issues, maintenance issues, everything is structured in a reporting system for each section.
Right.
And the great thing about that is it's all extremely generic for each one. So everybody there, as soon as they see it, can instantly understand what's being said, reported, talked about.
Right.
As opposed to just telling a story.
Right. Exactly.
That way, the details that matter, you know, time, location, weather conditions, you know, what you saw, what you didn't, what was around, all of that, you know, all the little things do add up eventually.
Oh, without a doubt.
The trend.
Yes, they do.
The whole situation.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Excellent. Yeah, when it comes to Bigfoot stories, encounters, you know, I personally, you know, I love hearing different stories, and especially when they're detailed. Friday night, we had Jeremiah on our podcast, and I hope we didn't interrogate you too bad, Jeremiah.
No, bro. It's all good, man. It's all good.
I definitely loved hearing the details of your story, and it goes for any other guest as well too, because you know when a guest is sharing their story, their encounter, and everything that led up to it, I mean, I find it, I get mesmerized, I get pulled into that story, you know, and it's like, you know, and I can visualize, like I did this with you when you were sharing your information. It's like you almost like you have a vision of what the storyteller is telling you, and you can see it happening, you know, and it's exactly what I didn't mention this to you, but I mentioned to others, but this is what happened when you were telling your story. I saw what you were seeing, you know, not saying I'm psychic, but it's my visual, you know, mental visualization.
I get what you're saying. Yep.
And so it's you know, but with others, the good thing about sharing stories and hearing these details, it comes down to the one word: collaboration. And we can, and you know, one person shares something. Hey, wait a minute, I experienced that too, or that's what happened to me, or you know, vice versa. So, but yeah, these are good. You know, I like verbally hearing stories. You know, but then again, it's like watching a movie than reading the book. Sometimes the book will have more detail than you know. But me, I'm more of a verbal person. I like hearing it, you know, verbally, you know. So, yeah, I mean, there's been, you know, like reading information, like what's in the BFO data. You read about a report, you know, it's someone's secondhand story. I mean, the way whoever's adding that story in there from another person, you know, it's different though. You know, it's like it doesn't feel the same as in hearing it from the person itself. You know,
the story of a story, of a story of a story.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. You know, I never, I mean, when you said something a second ago that like things from way back, right? I saw the Minnesota Iceman on a tour. I had no idea that at that time that I was going to be involved in this later down the road.
Right.
Yeah, it's just things add up.
They do.
So.
Absolutely. All right, where we get Shawn, let's get your thoughts on this as far as documentation.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, but you're sideways, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Better.
Horizontal.
I'm trying to kick on this little garage heater while I'm talking at the same time.
Okay, I got it.
As far as documenting things, I haven't done a great job. I've only been in this for 2 years, and it all started with a 20-inch footprint. So that 20-inch footprint freaked me the hell out. And then soon after that, there was other footprints and stuff, and I pictures. I did not like put my feet up against it or put anything. You know, I didn't think to do that.
Right.
But since then, I've been a little bit more meticulous. I haven't run across any more big prints like that or great footprints that were castable.
Right.
But I do take a lot of pictures. I do video clips, time-stamped. I store all this stuff on Amazon Cloud, so I can go back and I'm not doing the video clips for a YouTube channel or anything like that. I just do it myself.
Right.
Walking through an area where I believe these structures are Bigfoot related or, just odd, weird things, all the T's I see in the trees and stuff like that. I'll do video clips and just talk to myself. And then I can go back and look at that. And it's timestamped, so I know when it happened. And I've got a good kind of video diary. And picture diary. But as far as like collecting stuff to show the public, I don't really do that. There's so much of that out there already, and it doesn't matter. You could, we're down to it's gonna take a body to prove it. So
I gotta agree with you. It's gonna take a biological piece of evidence,
Yeah, the footprints and all that other evidence it's good for us. It's cool to share between the groups and stuff like that. But presenting it to the public doesn't make two shits of difference. So nobody cares.
I agree.
So something's gonna have to be harvested in order for us to go to the next level, I think.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but that's
unfortunately
how it
I know
is.
we're all pro. None of us here are pro kill, So but unfortunately, I'm not
out there. I'm not out there actually trying to kill one, but I think that's the only way it's going to
I agree. Right.
Hopefully, we just find a dead body.
Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
That would be that would be nice. But
we just got to be there with a gun when it happens. That's all.
Yeah. I carry a gun, and I whenever I'm out there, I'm ready. But I don't want to face off. I really don't.
You're like the rest of us. You're like the rest of us. You carry a gun because you're in the woods. You're in the wilderness.
That's right.
Yeah.
I carry a gun to the gas station.
Oh yeah, that's the wilderness.
Well, I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's my concealed carry. I'm in my garage. I have a gun, so yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I should have brought my new toy out tonight to show you guys. So I'll show you next week.
All right, Shawn, show it again. I didn't see it.
Yeah, Shawn, I want to see it again.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Just a second. Let me change the camera view here. Wait a minute. Let me find Shawn. There's Shawn.
There you go.
Okay.
Unskin that rascal.
All right.
Unskin that smoke wagon.
Oh, well, wait a minute. I got one down my pant leg. Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
That's not a gun.
No, it's not. This is a gun.
Last time I was on here, I showed off my 44 Magnum, my Smith & Wesson, but today I got my 45 right here. Yeah, my 45. So, yeah.
I had a handgun that used to shoot that. So,
Go in there and get a scar.
Oh, here it goes. Here it goes. This was 2 weeks ago, folks. It's a rerun.
Right? That's a 10 millimeter, right?
Yeah.
No, that's my concealed carry gun. That's just what I wear when I'm walking around.
Okay.
Tonight our sponsor
my Glock
is
20 is the Yeah, the Glock 20 is the one that goes with me out in the field. It's a 10 millimeter, and I shoot 223 hard grain bullets.
Yep. It's one of my favorite calibers.
Lead bullets.
One of my favorite calibers.
I have a question for the panel.
Yeah.
Yes.
What kind of investigations are you involved in? Mostly, are you just going out and looking for evidence, or are you actually setting up experiments and circumstances that could gather evidence?
But I do both. Both. If I am down, out back, we're on the family land where we got the family group, we just go back, and I'm going to be honest with you, we set up a fire, sit around the fire, and we just wait, and they will come in and check us out.
Yeah. Firelight is a good thing. Anybody else?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say basically what Jeremiah said, sitting around the fire, but especially at nighttime. But I do go out, explore during the day, and so forth. Well, one thing I've developed over the years, because I personally haven't been I've only been involved with doing the Bigfoot research for 10 years, and the thing is, after I got involved in more field work and then picking up on some experiences here and there along the way, I started noticing, I started thinking and paying attention to the times a year when most activity occurred. So then I started developing I guess you could say like a time frame when I do prefer to go out, when I'm going to expect more activity. And I know I've heard several others share the same thing in their neck of the woods. But for me, it's like early to mid-spring and early to mid-fall,
But now about April, November for me. For the group on our family land, other spots, we talked about this the other night. In other areas they research, it's different. It depends.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Like, you go down in Texas or stuff like that, you get warmer weather, in different areas down south, west or wherever it may be. They don't get as cold as we may have. I'm here in Virginia. I know Jeremiah, you're in New York. Travis is in Virginia, so we're getting some cold gusting winds right now going on. But so I think it all depends. Weather plays a lot of. I believe weather plays a key role in activity. So, but yeah.
Well, actually, I've had most of my activity early to mid spring and mid-late fall.
Mine's been late fall. Mostly late fall. Yep.
Well, what engineered tactics can y'all rack your minds for to come up with to gather evidence as far as anything that intrigues you, whatever evidence you think that would do the job.
Well,
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, as far as collecting evidence, coming across evidence, is to me, and I tell this to a lot of people, because you get your skeptics and non-believers that say, "Well, I'm out in the woods all the time, I don't, they don't see nothing." Well, the thing is, you gotta be looking for it, for one thing. And I don't always find it, but over the years, I have actually come across. You'd be surprised if you take the time to go out there, set your mind to it. If you're looking enough, especially you got an area that's active. It may not be active completely year round, but like we were talking about the time frame situation here. Take the time to explore. Sometimes you'll find new, some of them old. You may not get out there right away when they're new, but and it's more challenging too, especially this time of year. You got more leaf litter on the ground, so you got your natural leaf blanket. That's one thing I like to call it. I like natural blanket. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Which you'll find impressions and stuff like that, and I like to take my time to, if I see what appears to be a foot impression. I know I've had people criticize me for this, but as they say, "Oh, you'll destroy the track." I said, "No, not if you know what you're doing." But I've carefully removed the debris and the litter from it. Now, if it's something that's like stuck down into the ground, you want to be careful what you might pull because it could disrupt the whole track. But you got a lot of loose stuff on top. If you take the time to remove it, then you're going to have detail exposed.
Uh-oh, Israel.
What happened? Did I say something?
No, we talked about that last week. And
okay.
Yeah, we were just talking about it. Israel was saying pretty much the same thing you just said. Like, as far as I don't know, Israel, get into that a little bit actually.
I mean, he's absolutely correct. As long as you're not destroying it, because what's the value of, let's say, the leaves on top? The only reason we would collect the leads if we're trying to see to send them in to see if the leads are from somewhere else, you know,
Right.
or if the dirt is from somewhere else that they tracked it to that area.
You just don't want to mess with the actual track with your hand, fingerprints,
and then, like you said, if he's careful about it, I mean, hey, again,
I mean,
it's all about consistency. Again, that's the theme.
Right.
If you already know, if you're really good at it and can do it, then hey, by all means.
Well, hey, I like something you just mentioned there, Israel. You said you collect the leads out of a track. Like you said, some of the ones on top may be newer that came after the track was made.
Yeah.
One of the things I shared on here, I think I shared this last time, or I may have done it on my podcast. But there's a gentleman, he's from the North Carolina State University, and one of the things he shared with me, along with some of the other biologists he works with, talking about protocols and steps and procedures in order to collect evidence that may help benefit mainstream science to better, to maybe start stepping the existence. One of the protocol steps was actually taking soil samples from a track, collecting that soil sample. Because chemistry lab, this individual has access to a chemistry lab, and they've done DNA studies there, but they do a lot of chemistry testing and all that stuff. But soil samples is something they do a lot of, right. And if maybe taking soil samples from the track and also take something outside of the track so they can compare the whatever that may be in the soil. But the leaves, if you can find matted, flat down leaves and stuff that's been pressed into the ground, those leaves actually may produce some kind of evidence that
if they have access to a high-end spectrometer, I've been working in chemicals for like 20 years now.
Right.
If they have access to a good spectrometer and break it down, they could probably pick up like proteins, amino acids, oils left behind.
Yeah.
That are not plant derivatives, is what I'm saying.
Right.
To prove that it's a track made by a living physical animal creature.
Right.
Why not?
You were saying something about the how you can extract DNA from water.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Right? Wasn't that was a couple weeks ago? We got into that a little bit.
Well, I mean, it's called touch DNA. Science has gotten down to the most minute amount. So, for example, back in the day, to process blood, and Travis could probably get chemistry. I mean, you would need a big amount of blood to be able to test it. But now, you just need it's touch DNA. Like if we were face to face and we were just talking. I mean, even just talking to each other, we're exchanging bodily fluids and stuff. I mean, I know it sounds disgusting, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
Well,
so, or even if I rub up against you, like the dried cells and stuff like that, it will be on your shirt or wherever. So that's why we collect, we swab everything and send it in.
Okay.
I can say as far as the technology, this is just what we use at work. This is me as an operator running an in-process sample of a batch we're making.
Right.
This evening I was testing a batch and I was looking at a 0.10% level of a particular chemical in a 32,000 pound batch. And that's just something I use in my job. I mean, so the technology is definitely there.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the things we fool with, we're actually looking at levels of parts per billion, not million, but billion.
A billion, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So
it's coming up with the money to be able to put out to do all of this.
that particular piece of equipment I was running was that's about I think around about an $80,000 unit.
Wow.
You can pick it up and carry it around. I mean, it's not big.
Yeah. But it's not something your average is going to have.
In saying that, though, Israel.
Yes, sir.
What is, I know we can test the DNA down to that level, but what is the legitimacy, if I can say it right?
Legitimacy.
In a court of law. Yes, but what is it in a court of law? I mean, is that feasible in a court of law now?
You say is it admissible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's what you
okay.
Yeah. What would it take for it to be admissible?
Okay, in saying that, now, if we have put people on death row and killed people in, in a prison sentence fashion because of DNA at that level, what is the problem with us not being able to prove scientifically Sasquatch DNA?
Nothing to match it up to, really, right? I mean,
evidence collection.
Again, nothing's in a database. So
right, that's what I mean. I didn't mean nothing to compare you. Nothing. There's I mean that we have access to anyway.
Now, Daniel, you did a show a while back with an individual over the Miss Melba Ketchum, and he made a statement on that show that a lot of the DNA was, if I recall right, the father was, how did he say that? The father was the mother was human, the father was I mean, what's the word? I'm sorry, guys, I'm extremely tired.
Non-human primate.
Yeah, I believe that may have. Yeah, I can't. Hold on, that might actually
non-definable. I think is what the word he said. Non-definable was not in the system.
Non-definitive. Yeah.
Non-definitive. Okay. If we are proven, if we're able to prove that this supposed Sasquatch DNA, with the amount of samples that we have, and Daniel, I think he said they had over hundreds of. Well over 100 samples.
Yep.
We can prove that the mother, he even mentioned the names of all of it. It's a very good show if you guys want to catch it. Very good show. But the whole point I'm getting at is if we can put people to death human-wise using this minimal amount of DNA, what is the problem that we can't prove the existence of this target species when we have all of this evidence stacked up? We have eyewitnesses. Israel, correct me if I'm wrong. We have eyewitnesses. We have audio, we have tracks, we have DNA evidence. We've put people to death for less circumstantial evidence, but yet we can't.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, yeah. That's a good point.
Well, to sum it up in all lame terms and simple, of course, this book I have yet to actually read it, but we've had this Dr. Haskell Hart. We've had him on a few years back, way back when the whole project was going down with Melba Ketchum, and. Even mentioning her name is a touchy subject because I long story there. To sum it up, basically, with all the different samples that have been put out there, and anyone who's familiar with the Melba Ketchum knows, the whole study, and I'm glad he did this. I'm glad Dr. Haskell Hart broke this down and did because the name of the book is called The Sasquatch Genome Project: A Failed DNA Study, and what it boils down to. First of all, let me back up a little bit. When Melba Ketchum first came out in the limelight, and started telling about what she was doing, I was excited. I really was. Didn't know her from Adam, and I was actually gonna, I guess you could say I was becoming a fan of her, knowing that what she was gonna get into. Right. And so I was paying attention to a lot of details. What she was doing, this and that. Then I started learning a little bit more about her background, and she was a veterinarian. She was involved with the forensics, and and it was basically partial studies of forensics. It wasn't a full-term thing. And when she started conducting these studies, her sequences, come to find out, all these samples she was testing were not complete sequences, and. Yeah, and what it is, they were coming back as 95% this, 95%. They were coming back as human. Okay, right. Now here's a kicker: a bear's DNA. If because keep in mind they didn't have the data to run these studies based off of what they wanted it to be. They were using. I forget the terms. Maybe one of you guys might know, but they were using basically a human.
It's like a baseline.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, DNA strength. Yeah.
Right. So they were using a human process to go through all these sequences, and if they were to complete these sequences, like there's been several different species of animal that's been known that when there were bear, there were dogs, there was possum, so forth. All these different known species, these different mammals. There were, in order for a sequence, a DNA sample to be complete to identify, it needs to be 99.9%. I believe that's the number. So,
what is it for you guys, Israel?
Again?
Daniel was just saying for like, for in court of law, to use the DNA to convict somebody of a crime, say homicide, what's the DNA have to be? 100% or 99.9%?
99.9.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you have a 95,
okay.
Yeah, when you have the 95%, it's not completed.
Right.
Because keep in mind, like I said, they were doing theirs based off using a human process in their data, whatever. So yeah, and plus, not to mention that there believes to be, I believe it was proven. I don't know if it was proven, but it was believed to be that there was possibly human contamination because all these samples were gathered. If you guys don't mind, no offense, and I'm including myself in this. Amateurs were, as far as collecting DNA and samples out in the woods.
Sure.
Yeah, over the years we learned to use gloves and masks, and all this stuff. But the thing is, as far as collecting DNA, all the handling and not to mention being put into improper,
Bags.
because
you have to have like sterile containers that cannot be contaminated even by you breathing on them. I mean,
right. A lot of people, I've seen other people show their samples of hair in plastic baggies. I say, well, I think that might be okay for like a very super short time, but that's going to develop contamination, bacteria, and everything else that will contaminate it.
Plastic will degrade DNA.
Okay, it'll degrade it.
Speeds up the degradation process of the DNA itself.
Even way back when well, way back when Dr. Jeff Meldrum there was a time where he was accepting samples. He preferred samples that were associated where tracks were found. And I sent him some samples a long time ago, and it took forever. I haven't never heard back from him. But I learned through a journalist who did a report on me one time, and I mentioned Dr. Jeff Meldrum. So she looked him up and reached out to him because she wanted that information for her story. Well, she found out through him. I wish I would have found out myself, but yeah, those hair samples belong to a black bear, which, because they had different colors. They had brown, they had blondish white hairs in them, and some black. But I sent him some, and he, before I did, he instructed me how to properly do it. I put them in a piece of notebook paper, folded them up, and put that in another paper envelope and sent it off to him that way at the address he provided.
Right.
So, but yeah, I'm not no expert on it, but there's some small things I pick up on. I learned over a period of time. Like when I go out in the woods, I've come to the point where I've learned how to identify hairs and stuff, especially with black bears. Like you guys probably can't see it. Let me get my camera right. Oh, you guys probably can't. Let me turn it up this way. Yeah, there we go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you look, you can probably see there's some brown in there, black in there. But yeah, that's part of black bear hair right there.
Yeah.
Because when we look at a black bear, all we see is black. We don't see all the other colors that are underneath the coat. But
right.
I know it as being like a coarse hair that's probably about 2 inches long.
Yeah. So
yeah, and I think along with the say a DNA sample, like I just I said just sent Gary a picture years ago, and I telling you about this, and I found a bone up in Maine, and Shawn, you've seen it.
Yep.
And the gentleman I had been doing research with had found a couple as well, and they had been gnawed on pretty good. And yes, rodents. And someone says it, rodents do work bones. I called an individual I used to work with, sent him a picture of the bone. He said, well, we have to send that to our friend, have him take a look at it. So we sent the bone, picture of it to anthropologist we knew. At first, he said, Jeremiah, my lab is full of bones. I don't need any more. Well, he took a peek at it and he says, on the contrary, he said, send me that. He said, I think you have something. He said, I'll take a mold of it and I'll get it right back to you. Well, anyway, things didn't work out the way they were planned, but I don't know if I could have gotten DNA off a bone or like that. Looked like it had been sitting there a while, but the dental impressions in it, the way he described, and that to me, that would be another good way, to use as evidence to coincide with DNA. You know what I mean? Because dental evidence, that's forensic evidence as far as I'm concerned.
I saw a picture of that bone, and those doggone that dental evidence was phenomenal just to see.
Yeah.
That was incisors the size of,
Think about this too. What kind of jaw structure that it takes to imprint a bone like that, even a damp bone. What kind of jaw strength it takes to do that? A pit bull can't do that.
I said, and that's what they do that. Right, and the anthropologist. Yeah, it was insane. He said to me, the anthropologist, I'm not going to mention his name. It's not my my place to do it, but very well renowned. He said to me, Jeremiah, just from looking at these pictures, you have something. He's like, the only thing I can tell, I have seen things like this in the past, and what it reminds me of is, bones I have found on digs that it almost looks like dental impressions with a cross from like a Neanderthal with some sort of ancient giant ape and some sort of giant human, like a cross between the two. You know what I mean? Or the three. And that's the only way he could put it until he, physically examined it,
Well, the discovery of Gigantopithecus is based on their teeth.
Right. Yeah. Have I ever sent you that picture?
Travis, let's take that a step further. That discovery was based on 13 teeth found over a period of 30 years in one cave in China. They only have 13 Gigantopithecus teeth.
Right.
Yep. And they documented this species as part of paleontology history.
Absolutely.
But with all the evidence that's been presented as far as Bigfoot goes,
wasn't one of the teeth found in something like a wet market or a bone shop?
Yeah, it was. They were called dragon teeth.
Yeah,
it was dragon teeth, and they were. Yeah. Yep, exactly. Medicine.
Gentlemen, on what Travis just said, Israel, we put people, as we've just described, and Daniel, since you brought this up, we've put people to death row on 99.9% verification with DNA. Does anybody know the percentage of DNA that we share with chimpanzees?
99. Yeah. I think it's
with bonobos. It's even closer.
99.3 with a bonobo and 99% with a chimpanzee.
You
see the physical difference. The physical differences in between human and
that would explain not accepting 95% DNA evidence, because all of us present 95% of the same DNA at a crime scene.
And that 5% could be the matter of someone's life or death. I mean,
I've also heard that we have a certain amount of not DNA, genetics. Oh my God, with a tree, with a freaking tree. Okay.
Actually, but a banana.
Help me out.
A banana.
Well, we're all carbon. We're all carbon-based life forms.
Right.
So if you break it all the way down, eventually every living organism on this planet is going to share at least a tiny amount of DNA to a point.
Absolutely. Right.
Absolutely.
We have to.
Back on the Sasquatch and the chimpanzee, do y'all know the percentage of the people on the planet that actually carry live, active, y'all just said it. I'm sorry, I'm extremely tired. Neanderthal DNA.
About 1 million people.
There's actually more than people think.
You better add about 10 to that.
Is this
I'm
counting
sorry.
certain political
I
parties?
got mixed up with the descendants of Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan actually has about 1 million direct descendants on Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based on
Oh, my
DNA.
goodness.
Sorry, I mixed that up. I apologize.
Neanderthal is about 11 million people on the earth right now. The
Yeah.
people from Nepal and the people from Tibet, they have over 13% of Neanderthal DNA in their body. That's why they're more
Isn't it
adapted to
the
higher
only-
We
elevation.
did interbreed.
Isn't it the
Yeah.
only place that doesn't have Neanderthal is Africa?
Where?
Africa. I had understood that
I
European
think,
and Asian and so forth.
Not all.
Yeah.
Not all of us. Not all of us.
Not all, but
No,
they
no.
say that the people that come out of Africa was a total different breed than Neanderthal.
Totally different.
Neanderthal
Okay,
came
yeah.
out of Eurasia, and then they're saying Homo sapiens, us. You know, our ancestors come out of Africa.
Yeah, and
Lloyd
then
Pye
they got
puts
you
that
know.
real good. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say we got into this discussion the other night and about the whole lineage thing, the line and the land bridge and all that. I'm not gonna open that can of worms tonight.
Dr. Lloyd Pye puts out a very good series of documentaries called The Neanderthal Theory.
Yep.
A very good series, talks about traces it all the way down. But the whole point that I was getting at is we are able to, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to shut up about it, but we are able to put people to death with circumstantial evidence, but the amount of evidence that we have for the target species, we can't prove their existence. Even up to a DNA 95%, you know, there's something going on behind the scenes here, folks.
Gary, I agree. I agree 100%, man.
I mean, to simplify it, beyond DNA, beyond eyewitness accounts, if you find an 18, 19, 20-inch long human-like footprint that's 2 inches deep in the ground that a 200-pound man can't even make a track.
Right.
7-foot stride.
Jeremiah.
Something walked across there that you can't explain.
Yes, Patrick.
Can you put up the picture of the tracks and the angles?
I'm gonna right now. I just sent Gary. I sent you the picture of that bone for you to show the guys for. And I also wanted to.
I don't know if I can do it from my mobile screen. I'll try.
Oh shoot, that's right. Damn it. Let me see if I can do it.
Well, I was going to make a point that I can track a hog.
I can do it.
And I can track the deer. I can track a deer, and people say, "Hey, look, it's a deer track." Everybody standing around there will point and say it's a deer track. And I can do the same thing with a hog, or a turkey, or a possum, or a coon. But you find a 22-inch track, it's bipedal, and they're just no, it can't be. But
Patrick,
out of all the
track
thousands of tracks that I've found,
the one you said had
it has a red and blue.
It gets back to acceptance.
No, it has the red and blue. The one I sent you. The one I sent you with the red and blue cross. There's a small track and a large track.
Yep, 1 second.
I agree with you, John.
It actually shows the angle.
Yep.
Yeah, give me 1 second, Patrick. I'll get it up
Well,
there.
what I do on a track is what I do on a track to debunk, usually just for myself, is I'll draw a straight line from between the big toe and the next toe to the center of the hill, linear length, and then I set another line across the balls of the feet, and there is a pretty specific angle that the balls of the feet are to that linear line that bisects the foot. And that's how I debunk a lot of tracks that are sent to me. I have a lot of tracks sent to me. But when you can find thousands of those tracks with those same very close, within a degree or two, bald angles on the balls of the feet compared to the linear bisection line, and you can find them in 4 different states.
Yep.
Okay, what's the chances of that being a hoax?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very. Yeah, I see what I agree with it. I mean, hold on. I think I can do this. So I'm not exactly the most computer.
Yeah. Does anyone on here follow Brian Forrester by any chance, or know who
I
he
know
is?
the name. I don't know him personally.
Oh, okay. He's a archaeologist. He does a large study and he explores a big part of Peru, and he does a study on the Parascas. Yeah, he does the Parascas skulls and the elongated skulls, and
Okay.
yeah, there was a
the Ron Moorhead right now.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, he did a. Of course, I think they revealed it in one of his latest books. They didn't put it out publicly. I guess they did it in the books to get the sales, but there was a certain DNA study they did with a certain group of what they found. A group of different. There were people with elongated skulls, and with these elongated skulls, these skulls were not manipulated. You know how there are a lot of.
I've heard that. I've heard about that case. Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe that. Yeah, I believe they were red. They had red hair, and their DNA, from what I recall, comes a little bit different than regular human DNA.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, I don't know what those results were. They are in the book, and so
I will tell you that they actually tracked that all the way back to origins in Egypt.
He's in Egypt a lot. So
yeah.
What's his name? Ryan?
Brian Forrester. Yeah.
Brian.
He's on Facebook. However, he has such a large following, you'll have to just click follow because you won't be able to send him a friend request. I tried, but if you click follow on his profile, you'll get all his updates. I see a lot of stuff. I haven't been paying attention to nothing recent, but we've actually had him a few years ago on one of my podcasts. He joined us all the way from Peru, which was pretty cool. So I think we've had him on for about maybe an hour. So because it was late here, it was early in the morning over there where he was at. So I believe. Brian Forrester. Bryan is his name. Right. Brian. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
And he's an anthropologist, and you say he's in Egypt now?
He's between Egypt and Peru. Mainly in Peru. He does a lot of studies and stuff in Peru and surrounding areas. Yeah. But he's an archaeologist. So archaeologist and a mathematician. So
Patrick, I cannot do. I am lost here. Gary's usually my go-to when it comes to that. Gary, you know how to share stuff on the screen?
I just
No, nobody else.
What? Is Israel still on?
What's that?
Israel, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. If you have you got Jeremiah, send it to Israel in his messenger. Israel, download it. Then down at the are you on your laptop, Israel?
Yeah.
Do you know how to do that?
Down on the bottom of the screen, it'll say when you click on all your tools, it'll say share screen.
Yeah, that's what I tried too. I have them. Share screen. Application window. Your entire screen. It is.
Go ahead.
It is interesting what Patrick's saying. I'd like to show you guys that bone too before we head out.
I'd love to see that bone.
Can you guys see that or no?
No.
Yeah.
I just see John, Israel, and Patrick on my screen, unless I slide over.
Yeah. The only thing I see on my screen besides Israel and Daniel and Patrick is a picture of Jeremiah and
his lovely wife.
His lovely wife.
Oh, is it a good, decent picture, or she have her shirt off, or it's not a dirty one, is it?
Well, you'll find out when this gets edited. Hey. Yeah. Let's just say you're smiling pretty good.
Oh, so. Wait, I just, matter of fact.
Okay, Jeremiah, you shared it, but you shared the wrong screen. You need to click over on the picture now. You're sharing screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be careful, very careful what you click on.
Yeah, we don't want to see your private stuff.
We'll start talking about that 48-inch barrel.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. I'll let Israel do it.
Okay, for some reason it's letting it gives me the option to share now.
Dan, go ahead. Let me.
Only the host can share in this meeting, so you got your settings.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to make you a co-host as well. Hold on, because we got about 5 minutes, and then I gotta cut this.
I have the option too. If you might have to make me a
You know how to do it, Travis?
You're gonna have to make me a co-host, but if you'll do that,
I did. Didn't I? I didn't. Oh, I thought I did.
No, you made Israel.
No, you made me a co-host.
Do you know how to do it, Israel?
No, but you can show me how to do it.
Click on your screen that shows your camera, your microphone, stop video, participants, and more.
Yeah, I see the bottom, the share screen.
Yeah, click that.
Nope.
Travis, let me try you.
It was a good turnout at the Falk Halloween camp out this weekend.
Yeah.
I saw Lauren Smith of Nightcrawlers, Keith Crabtree of the one that played the Falk monster. The
Oh,
Bigfoot
shit.
on the show,
What did they
the movie.
Oh, there you go.
You did it.
There it is.
I don't know how I just did that, but it just happened.
I just shared it. You made me
Oh,
co-host.
okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the bone anyway.
Yep.
Wow.
Okay. That's the bone that the anthropologist wanted. Stuff happened. He never got it, but anyway, that's beside the point. But yeah, if you guys could have seen this thing up close, I mean, this is a very well-respected anthropologist. He said, there were of course rodent marks in it as well, but he said there was dental impressions in it that were no doubtedly made by something
Looks like
else.
half-inch incisors.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a, but he was quite impressed with it, so.
Show it to your dentist. Seriously.
Yeah.
Show that picture to your dentist.
I'll show him the picture. Unfortunately, I don't have the phone. But,
private message me that when you get a chance.
I didn't already.
Probably have you on it.
No, you haven't private messaged me that.
Okay. Let me see now. If I can do that other picture for you.
Hey, I'll be right back, guys.
Okay. Okay, there we go. No, guys can't see that, I'd imagine.
Nope.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I got lucky, I guess, that time.
No, what are you trying to do, Jeremiah?
I'm trying to share a picture that Patrick sent me.
All right, send it to me through Messenger.
Okay.
I didn't figure out how to do it.
That I will.
Travis is my hero.
He is.
Unless
He just
if
God.
JR's here, JR's my hero.
Well, Gary, you're mine.
Right now,
Yeah, me
nobody's
too,
hero,
Gary.
boys. I'm wore out.
Here we go, bromance. Oh, Lord.
I mean, yeah.
Don't worry,
If anyone were to listen to this group talk right here, they think we're a bunch of whack jobs.
What? We're not.
No, I don't whack nothing.
We'll have to do a bunch of
You always
editing on this.
Anyway.
get someone else,
This show might have a bunch of beeping in it. I might have to beep a bunch of shit out.
There's always
Beep, beep, beep.
always a bunch of money that's going to be made. Well,
Yeah, add to. Yeah. See, I don't know. I don't know how the hell I did that, but I did it. Yeah.
No, what I did, you sent the picture through Messenger, so I did a screenshot.
Okay.
I edited it out, and then I shared it from my photo library.
All right, let me do that. we gotta.
Yeah, if you can just do it, the easiest way, like I can't save a photo from Messenger, but I can do a screenshot of anything on my phone.
Okay.
And then I just edit out all the crap around it so it zoomed in on just the actual photo.
Patrick
And then I can share and get the option to share from my photo library.
And right from there. Yeah.
Okay, here you go, Travis. There you go.
All right, y'all give me a second.
But yeah, guys, I think that was a pretty good show tonight. I thought it went well. Any input?
We're still recording.
Yes.
Well, I got.
We're not done
yet. I think that it doesn't matter how much evidence we come up with. Like everybody's saying, the DNA, you can put people on death row for so much DNA evidence and whatnot, but I mean, we've got tens of thousands of eyewitnesses, credible people that have seen these, including all of us, and it doesn't matter. You know, mainstream does not want to pick up on this. Nobody's going to follow it. Mainstream scientists are afraid of losing their jobs and being ridiculed, and we just need to stand up and not give two shits about what the world thinks. Basically.
Right.
You know, y'all see photos
compressed.
Yeah, it's compressed for some reason.
It's kind of compressed.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why.
What I'll do, guys, is I will send it to each one of you on Messenger. Or Patrick, if you don't mind, just to show the guys.
I just screenshot that.
I don't mind.
I can blow it up.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't mind. That is a very typical angle and a way to approach debunking. You know, because who knows if someone gets out there feeling nectar and pulls their socks and shoes off and goes trapping through the area.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. I'm glad you sent that to me yesterday.
You can generally tell when somebody's been wearing, say, leather shoes all their life, like, say, wingtips. I can go by my own feet, or when my parents did. You know, that angle